Mike Damergis here with a former USFL great, Derek Holloway, the Michigan Panthers. And Derek, I just want to tell you right now, on my desk, and when you see the video, I have a helmet of the Michigan Panthers with the logo, which I think was the coolest helmets of the league.
For sure. Like Mike Keller said, I think not too long ago, and a lot of fans weighed in. I think someone had who had the coolest logo. I think the Michigan Panthers did have the coolest logo. And I just happened to be fortunate enough to play for them too also.
Well, talk about that team and really the impact on the city. You guys won the first championship since the Bobby Lane days in 1957.
Yeah, I didn't know it had been that long, but the city of Detroit, Pontiac, the whole state of Michigan, they really embraced us. We came together for that first USFL season, and we ended up having a great season. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. I think we were 1-4, but then we went out and bought some Pittsburgh Steelers offensive linemen, and I think after that, everything started to mesh together.
Talk about your battery mate there, Anthony Carter, tremendous receiver, and really went on to help the Minnesota Vikings be a playoff contender in the late 80s and early 90s, and you and him were really some duo to have on offense.
Yeah, I didn't know Anthony until we actually started playing together. I had heard of him. But Anthony's he's a great player. There's no receiver I'd rather play with than AC. He's tenacious. He's going to catch it if you throw it in his area. If you need to get a block, he's going to block for you. And me and AC are still friends today. I still talk to him. I didn't talk to him today, but I still talk to him. And we still have a friendship. So that friendship has lasted all the way, from the start of the 1983 season.
And in 1983, you guys combined for 20 touchdowns. And talking to guys like Ray Bentley and Novo Bojovic about AC, he wasn't a big guy. He was a real thin guy, 160 pounds, but his body was kind of rubbery, and he was able to bounce off of hits. Talk about him as a player.
Yeah, like I say, AC's about 5'10", maybe 5'11". He is really rubbery. He didn't like to practice a lot, but I tell you, when game time came, when Sunday came, or whenever the time for the game, he was ready to play. And like I said, there's no other receiver I'd rather play with. If you throw it in his area, he's going to catch it. He's going to block for you. He's going to give it 100%. Some catches you didn't think, how did he catch that? But, that's AC for you.
Yeah, I remember now the 1987 playoff game against the San Francisco 49ers. Minnesota went into San Francisco, and they shocked them. And AC had, 227 yards receiving with 10 receptions against the 49ers?
Yeah, I remember watching that game on TV. He put a hurting on them. Like I said, AC there's no one else. AC is number one, and he played like he was the best too.
And you were pretty good yourself. You had 11 touchdowns in 1983, and in the first ever USFL Championship, you scored the first 2 touchdowns as well. And you put up some pretty insane numbers in your day. Talk about that team and before going to the championship in Denver, you had the playoff game against the Invaders when 60,000 fans plus stormed the field and tore down the goalposts. This was an insane scene.
It was. That 1983 season, like I said, we started out 1-4. We were very young, me, Bobby, Ken Lacey, just about all the skill positions. We were all rookies. We just came out of college, So once we got that offensive line from the Steelers, a lot of those guys from the Steelers, we started picking it up. And going into that, the championship game, 60,000 people. It was a madhouse out there. They stormed the field. They tore down the goalpost. It was great, actually. And then going out to Denver and winning that first championship game, and like I said, having the privilege to score the first 2 touchdowns ever in the USFL championship game, that was special. Also, it was real special.
We'll talk about waiting in the tunnel, and Novo actually said Magic Johnson came to visit you guys in the locker room before the game. Talk about the atmosphere there in Denver. For over 50,000 fans were there for the first USFL championship.
like I said, it was great. The atmosphere was great. I think everyone thought that Philly was going to win because I believe they had the best record in the league, and Philly was tough, and they had beat us earlier in the season in Philly. But we both played on that collision course to play in that first championship game. To tell you the truth, I don't remember seeing Magic in the locker room before the game. He might have been, but I don't think I saw him. So, but the atmosphere was really relaxed. Believe it or not, it was the first championship game. But like I said, we had done this, I guess 17 games before, however many games we had played before that, and we were ready to play. We knew they were going to blitz. So we studied them just like they studied us. So that's why we were able to get some of those touchdown passes in there because they were blitzing, especially that last one, the AC, when he scored that one on that long run.
That put the game away. Like they gave you guys a 24-14 lead at the time. That's what put that game away. Talk about Bobby Hebert as a quarterback, and he really was the Cajun cannon. He really lit things up for you guys. And 2 years with the Panthers, and that one great year with the Oakland Invaders when you had that you, Holloway, and Gordon Banks really lit things up in Oakland that year.
Yeah, Ace. Bobby was something else. He had his ups and his downs, but Bobby was a great quarterback. He stood in the pocket. Like I said, we were all rookies when we came into the league. We didn't obviously know each other, but we found a way to get it together. Just like a quarterback and receiver, they find a way to he kind of knew. We meshed really quickly. He knew when I was going deep, where I was going to come short, and he got to know AC real well also. And then when we went to Oakland, we merged teams. We went out there with Gordon Banks. I'm saying we should have won that championship game too, but woulda, coulda, shouldas. We didn't play well enough to win that game, but we were in the game the whole game.
Let's move on to 1984. The team struggled. You lost Anthony Carter in injury, but you had tremendous numbers, over 1,200 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns, and you guys finished 10-8. The Michigan Panthers finished 10-8 that year, and you had that triple overtime playoff game. One of the best games in professional football, the longest game in professional football, and you guys lost in triple overtime to Steve Young, 27-21. A couple of storylines here. Novo Biovic had a couple of chances to win the game. He was pretty much, a lock, the team offensive player of the year that year, and he missed 3 field goals. 2 could have been game winners for the Panthers, and he missed those. And talk about playing in that game, one of the best of all time.
Yeah, that was a tough loss to take. Like I said, losing Anthony earlier in the season, we struggled for a little while, but hey, we knew Anthony wasn't coming back as far as we knew, but we had to, we didn't know for sure, but we had to play. Anytime you have a great player that's injured, you have to play like they're not coming back. So we played well enough to get into the playoffs, and then playing out there, it was hot out there that day. And going back and forth, I guess, like myself, when the game was over, I was just glad someone won. Novo, I'm sure he feels bad for missing those field goals, but, it's football. It is what it is. And but it was, like I said, the longest game in professional football history, and I was glad to be a part of that also.
So what were you thinking when Novo missed those field goals? He said when he was going out for the second one, he knew he had no chance of making it. Did you think he had a chance?
No, I thought he said he had no chance of making it. Is that what he said?
Yeah, he said he knew mentally he knew he could not make it. He wished some teammate or the coach would have came over to him, because I guess the kickers are always isolated in this situation. So he said he wished someone came over to him, smacked him in the head, and say, "Come on, man, get your act together, make this field goal. You're good enough to make this."
Oh, I didn't know he had said that, but once again. You just got to go out and do your best. And if he was mentally down like that, then I wish someone would have went over and told him that he could make it. But as a kicker, you do get isolated when you're the hero when you make it, and when you miss it, people kind of like to not be close to you. But like I said, once again, I didn't know he had said that, he had felt that way. But you know, once again, it is what it is. We played hard. They played hard. But they just end up winning the game.
Yeah, he just said that to me. I interviewed him last year, so he just shared that. He said he really never talked about it. It hurt him so much to miss those field goals. He just felt like he let the whole team down. And I remember Ray Bentley telling me on the plane ride home, he just felt like so awful about letting the team down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anytime it could have been it could have been me, for instance, dropping a touchdown pass, or you know, it could have been anything. It could have been anybody in any certain point in the game. But once again, when there's field goals, they stand out a little more. When the game's on the line and the kicker, all they have to do is, you know, I say all they have to do, but obviously it takes a lot of skill to kick the ball through the uprights. But kick the ball through the uprights, you know. Like I said, if I would have dropped a touchdown pass in that game and could have won it, I would have felt bad too. So, I mean, you're supposed to feel bad. But it's not something you did on purpose. It's just, you know, just the way things turned out.